Okay, so I put a couple of videos up on the tone. Some people have asked me to put something up on the slap, so this is mainly for that. But I guess for me, slap and tone are two sides of the same coin, so I'm going to talk a little bit about both. So in my other videos, you'll have seen that a tone is generally achieved by closing the fingers, by hitting the skin with your fingers, as if you're clapping like this, using as large a surface area as possible, with hitting with a circle, the epicenter about here. Okay. So what gets the tone is a wide surface area hitting the drum at the same time, and then actually in about 1998 a guy called Albert Prak brought out a brilliant paper called The Physics of the Djembe. You can look it up, it's still on Google. And he showed quite clearly that the difference between a slap and tone is partly surface area. A tone you hit with a wide surface area, but also with a tone the fingers stay on the drum in contact with the skin fraction longer than they do with a slap, and that is achieved, or at least I suggest in my last videos, by closing your fingers, because that introduces tension and stops them kind of bouncing off in different directions when they hit. If you slow your technique right down, when you hit a tone and you don't get one, it's because one or other of the fingers kind of bounces off like this in a different direction to the other fingers. So a tone, fingers together. That was a rubbish tone, typical. There we go. Gung, gung. Coo, coo. Should be a dull thud, like being punched in the solar plexus, I always think. Coo, coo. Okay, so tones. So with a slap, now we want to hit with a smaller surface area as possible for as little time as possible, and effectively that means hitting with just the fingertips. So how do we achieve that? Well, I do that by this part of my hand, the pads, fleshy part of my pads, contacting the edge of the drum, the bearing edge of the drum, and when my hand contacts, my fingers are raised about a couple of centimeters above the skin of the drum, whereas with a tone they hit completely flat, so everything contacts at the same time. Here I hit like that, and obviously there's a bit of tension holding my fingers up. If my fingers were completely loose, they just fall down like that, so a bit of tension in the slap as well, such that my fingers have now got spring in them. If I push my finger down, it springs back up again, because when I hit like that, the force of momentum is going to carry on taking my fingers down, and they're going to spring back up off the skin of the drum to create that higher sound. Cuckoo, caca, cuckoo, caca. That's it. It's just really practice, 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 practice. What people often the most common mistake with not getting a slap is all of the fingers hitting together rather than just the fingertips, and sometimes leaving like the hand on there, too much tension. So you've got to be a little bit of tension to hold the fingers in the right place, but not too much, otherwise that stifles the slap or indeed the tone. So that's it really. If you really want to get deep into your slaps and tones, I spend hours down the studio recording my slaps, analysing the wave spectrum and really listening to it. If you listen, when you play your slap, there's actually a combination of different notes in there. I'll try to make that clear for you. Actually, Mamady plays something he calls tonpalo, or sometimes the third slap, and I can do it a little bit, nothing like Mamady, of course, but I'll try to do that for you now. I'll play bass, bass, tone, tone, tonpalo, tonpalo, slap, slap. So. Kung kung king 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 kang kang, hopefully. And you can hear in the slap, ooh ooh ooh, ooh ooh ooh, ah ah ah, ah ah ah. And if you've got the time, sit for hours and hours and just I actually get the tonpalo, by the way, by turning my hand towards the centre of the drum, keeping my fingers more or less together, cupping my hand slightly, a bit more like a conga slap. I'm really listening for that ooh, 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 ooh note, and really hearing that higher note. Ah, where is it? There's a higher note above there. Ah, ah. Anyway, there you go. Bass, tone, tonpalo, slap.